a lot of you guys are jelly because we get to these athletes, we get to hang with them, interview them a little bit. But Matt, you had a superstar today. Doesn't suit up, doesn't wear eye black, doesn't put his hand in the dirt.
You have to remember, we're broadcast nerds.
Yeah.
That's what we are all about. Jim Nantz, the voice of Super Bowl LVIII. This is his 7th Super Bowl that he's going to call. I was starstruck, I'll be honest with you. I was a little intimidated interviewing him.
Yeah.
But I had to ask, more than 115 million people tune in to watch the Super Bowl. So naturally, I wondered, Jim, do you ever get nervous?
You've done a billion games. Are you nervous for the Super Bowl?
You always remind yourself you've done this before. And you don't want to walk in feeling as casual as we are right now. You want to be excited. You want your heart to speak. You want your heart to beat a little harder. So it's not nerves that are filled with doubt. It's nerves about, I'm here. I want to be good today. I want this to be the perfect show. It's that kind of nerves.
Number 7 with CBS for you. Does a memory stick out?
Everyone's been special. I mean, the first one was especially meaningful because the game began with the only, still to this day, opening kickoff return for a touchdown in Super Bowl history.
It's Hester trying to work it back to the middle. Gets past the first wave, and here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown.
Well, how are you billing this one? You've got one team that is knocking on the door of a dynasty, another a franchise that knows a lot about being a dynasty but hasn't gotten over the hump recently.
Well, first off, you go back to Super Bowl 54, and the fact that it's still kind of in the same orbit 4 years later, the rematch of what was a very good game down in Miami, I think that's compelling. You look at San Francisco. This is not a one-time opportunity. It doesn't mean they're guaranteed to come back. But could they go on their own little dynasty run?
Yeah.
Of course they could. I mean, they have the players, they have the youth, they have the coach, they have the GM to be able to do it. So if they met again next year in the Super Bowl, it wouldn't surprise me.
It's Kansas City about to take on the 1 seed Baltimore. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz with Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson.
I want to touch on Hello Friends, a nod to your dad.
Thank you for knowing that.
Of course,
True.
something that was so sweet. Could you have ever imagined it becoming what it's been, one of the greatest catchphrases, I'd say, in TV?
Well, I didn't ever want anybody to make a fuss about it. My dad was deep in the throes of Alzheimer's, and I wanted to find a way for him to know I was thinking of him when I came on the air. So I used that as my little comment to let him know I'm looking into that lens, and I'm looking at you, Dad, because when you do look into the lens, you can't even imagine that on Sunday there are going to be over 100 million people on the other side of that. So it became a blessing for me because I found a way to calm myself when you're coming on for the first time. And I didn't have any intention for it to go on forever. I said it a couple of times over the course of a month, and I had some friends say, hey, I've noticed you've been saying that. What's the deal? And I told them, they said, well, you ought to keep doing that. That sounds like you. And yeah, I get it everywhere I go. People say, hey, would you write hello friends on a signature? Would you, it's going through an airport, hello friend, it's a nice thing. Appreciate you asking that. A lot of people don't know the story. They think, oh, you're just randomly saying hello friends, trying to get attention. I want no attention. I want the game to get the attention.
That was such a treat for me. And I was just telling you, he's the soundtrack of sports for a guy like me, the PGA, March Madness, and the NFL. And tonight at 11, Vern, I'm really excited. We're going to really dive into Hello Friends, really dive into the story about his father and how special that is to him.
You know what does it for me? When you interview somebody of that stature and they call you by your name and work it in the conversation like, man, he called me Matt.
Pure class.
Yeah.
Pure class. I could go home tomorrow. I'm good. That made the trip out here for me. I'm good.
Yeah. You were a little affected. You're
I'm shaking. I got goosebumps.
You're excited. Man. And I totally get it. It's almost the same feeling when we're in the audience with Juliette Goodrich.
I get way more nervous
when she calls us by our name. It's like, whoa, but she really knows us. In fact, there she is right there.
You're so funny. Matt, I love your questions. Vern, you're making me blush, but do you really want me to call our bosses, Matt, and say you want to go home tomorrow? I'll do it. Is that what you're telling me?
No, it's a good point. I'd like to
I don't
stick around
think
for the
so.
game if possible, Juliet, but
Oh, okay.